Hey, you want to see something really scary?
What's your favorite scary movie?
I'm gonna scare the hell out of you.
What was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
When there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk here.
What's blood for, if not for shedding?
Welcome to Fright Night.
Welcome back to Jumpscare. I'm Betty.
And I'm Chad.
We are celebrating our 300th episode.
Woo!
300 episodes, guys. And we have chosen, mostly because it is my birthday month, to do the original 1996 Scream.
Hello?
Hello?
Who is this?
You tell me your name, I'll tell you mine.
Why do you want to know my name?
I want to know who I'm looking at.
I am calling the police.
They never make it in time.
This is Gail Weathers with an exclusive.
Authorities are baffled.
Been warned by the killer.
It all began with a scream over 911, like the plot of some scary movie.
Hello, Sydney. Do you like scary movies?
What's the point? They're all the same. Some stupid killer stalking some big-breasted girl who can't act, who's always running up the stairs when she should be going out the front door. It's insulting.
There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror movie. Never, ever say, I'll be right back, because you won't be back. Get another beer, you want one? Yeah, sure. I'll be right back.
Help me, somebody!
You're not scared, are you?
And other films from the Scream franchise.
As we see fit.
So
now this came out December 20th, 1996, the original. And they did it deliberately, they said back at the time, because they wanted to have an alternative to all the Christmas movies that were out at the time. And I think this actually lost its opening weekend to Beavis and Butthead Do America. Which was because this didn't come right out of the gate making like $100 million at the box office like they want everything to do now. This was like the number 4, number 5 movie for a while, but it was in theaters from December all the way into May. This was back when the movies were in theaters for months, not weeks. So this thing eventually made a ton of money, but it took a little bit of word of mouth for it to get going. He didn't just come out of the gate making $1 billion.
well, I'm going to let you go first and your experience watching this at the theater.
So we went to see this, my friends and I. It had already been out for a couple of days. I think we did see Beavis and Butthead Do America first because, that was the film of a generation there. And so we went to see this like on a Monday night. And I wasn't expecting a lot from it, to be honest, because the last couple of Wes Craven movies had not overwhelmed me. I know everybody loves New Nightmare now, but I didn't.
No, I hated that movie,
and
I still do.
I did not care for Vampire in Brooklyn either. It was okay, but it wasn't great.
No offense, also terrible.
And, I'm going to see this one, and it's going along pretty good, but I think where the whole theater really just was the mic drop was whenever he did the line about, because I want to know who I'm looking at. And everyone was just like, okay, we know what's going on now. And after that, it just got crazier where he's asking her the questions about, all the horror nerds in there. As soon as she said, Jason was the killer in Friday the 13th, everyone went, ooh, no, he wasn't. Yeah, so that was great because it was testing your horror nerd trivia as you're going along with it. And, the whole shock of Drew Barrymore getting the axe 12 minutes into the movie or whatever it was. Because if you went by the posters and by the previews, you thought she was in the whole movie. Because just because they show her getting attacked in the previews doesn't mean that she doesn't make it all the way to the end, for all we knew, she could have got away at this opening scene. So, we weren't sure what was going to happen. But yeah, it was a lot of fun watching it that weekend because you really didn't know where it was going to go. Because other than Drew Barrymore, who we'd already seen get killed off right away, the only people you knew in this movie were Neve Campbell, who was popular on TV, but this was her first movie, I think. And then, what's her name? Courtney Cox from Friends, which was only in its third season, I think, at that point, second or third season. So it wasn't even quite the juggernaut that it was later. But for that matter, she could have gone out quick because maybe they just put her in there just to get a little bit of a notice. So that was the fun thing about the first one, was that you weren't sure who was going to die and who was going to live. And I think this might have the highest survivor count of any slasher movie I've seen, because usually it's only one. It's only the one final girl or guy that survives. This one ended up with a few people making it out.
Yeah, actually, thinking about it, yeah, well, yeah, you got, if we're going to count Deputy Dewey, I guess there's 4 people that make it out.
Yeah, which usually it's just one.
Yeah.
And we kept thinking Randy was a goner for sure, but they brought him back at the end of this first one. He was he did the joke about, I've never been so glad to be a virgin in my whole life.
Now, my experience was, I was a teenager at the time, and every Friday, it didn't matter what movie was coming out, whatever was going to be the movie, or the movie that I had seen the most trailers of, they constantly were just having trailer after trailer after trailer whenever I watched TV, that was the movie that I was going to watch. I just absorbed film, and I knew that Drew Barrymore was going to be in this movie, and I was an insane Drew Barrymore fan. I was so in love with her. Anytime she came out with a movie, I was there. I was there actually opening night. I saw the movie, and the whole theater was filled with people, and I was so scared when she's going through her whole ordeal, and I was crying when she's hanging from the tree. I was beside myself with shock, anger. I thought she was the star. The freaking poster, this is before there were multiple posters, whatever. It came out later on that they were going to have all these covers with the different people. Yeah. I'm trying to remember, were there all these alternate covered posters where it was just that one person, or it was just Drew Barrymore? Because of course I'm going to be biased. In my mind it was just Drew Barrymore, but I think they did have the other posters with the other people. Nevertheless, she was the star of the show, because I'm who I knew who Neve Campbell was because I watched Party of Five, and I also had seen that episode that she was in before all of that, when she was in Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Oh, yeah.
So, I already had experienced her. I already had seen her do her thing. But to me, she was no Drew Barrymore. I mean, come on, she's legacy. So when I saw she got murdered, I was just ugh. And then the movie was so unlike any other horror movie that I had seen. I mean, it just really, I was wow, and I was obsessed. To the point where I remember, later on, Blockbuster would have gift cards, and they would have the gift cards of random movie, the most popular movie or whatever. I was going in there oh, can I get a $5 gift card just so I can have the image, cutting things out of magazines. I was all about this movie. When it came out on VHS, I was watching that at least, once every weekend. I was watching this movie, to the point where my baby sister, okay, she would go in and she would be watching the tape when I was not home. That's how she would sneakily to watch, as you do when you were younger, right? to watch this horror movie that her sister was so obsessed with. And that's why she has her own love for the film, because of how she experienced it and how she watched it when she was that age, at such a young age. I mean, she should have not been watching that. But yeah, it's something you never for, there's certain theater experiences that you just don't forget, and like how you're impacted by what you're watching at that moment, especially because it's like, oh, okay, this is like fresh. Because my memories of like what I had seen before in the theater were, when it came to horror, were just terrible. Like you said, like that last Nightmare on Elm Street was pretty bad. I was trying to remember what it was that I went to go see, that it was just really, really, really terrible.
Well, the mid-90s was kind of a wasteland for horror.
It was, for sure, which we're going to get into.
You had a few, highlights here and there. Like Candyman came out in 92. That was a good one.
Yeah, but that's early 90s. Like mid 90s, like around this time,
no.
It was like, oh, that's coming out. It was not good. It was not gonna like...
Well, because in 91, when Silence of the Lambs came out, it became such a big hit and, won Academy Awards and all that. Excuse me. For the next, 6-7 years after that, you got a ton of Silence of the Lambs ripoffs about serial killers. It was all the brilliant serial killer that no one can catch. You had... In the big names, you had like Seven, and you had that Copycat, and others like that. But then there were so many like straight to video, serial killer movies. You had the crazy one with, I think Christopher Lambert from Highlander was in several of them. He did one called Night Moves, where the killer is killing people. And there's a grid over the city, and he's killing them in like a chess move thing.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, and then he did one called Resurrection, where he was killing people that were 33 years old, just like Jesus when they died.
Oh, I don't have a feeling I've seen that movie.
Yeah. So Christopher Lambert was in a few of them. Even Scott Glenn from The Silence of the Lambs was in a couple of these, ripoffs. So for a while in the 90s, that was all you were getting. You had that Profiler show on TV where she was... the profiler hunting down the amazingly smart serial killer that could outsmart the entire U.S. government, which was something that, you didn't think you could do back in the 90s. Now it'd be really easy to outsmart the government.
So the film was directed by the late Wes Craven.
Yeah.
The screenwriter, the heart of the movie, is, because he's still alive, is Kevin Williamson. This is prior to Dawson's Creek.
Yeah.
So, you have the fresh take. Kevin Williamson has stated that it's his love for Halloween 78 which got him to start writing like horror, like after seeing, experiencing that. Which all writers, directors, obviously everyone's going to be like, oh, this is the movie this is, what did it for me. This is what got me into doing this. They get inspired by it, which you totally can see those elements when you watch Scream. And this movie did something that, the writing is so fresh. You have Courtney Cox, as you said, David Arquette, Neve Campbell, Drew Barrymore, Rose McGowan, Skeet Ulrich, and I was gonna say Stu Macher.
Matthew Lillard.
Matthew Lillard. Matthew Lillard. All of these people, and then you have your cameos. You have Linda Blair.
Well, don't forget Jamie Kennedy, and there's Randy.
And Jamie Kennedy. I'm so sorry.
He went on to do his own show for a while after this. That Jamie
that
Kennedy
prank show.
Yeah, the Jamie Kennedy Experience. That had some fun stuff on it.
I guess. I didn't have cable like that, so I wasn't watching that. So you have Linda Blair, who was the reporter, and then Tatum and Dewey's mom, was, or Deputy Dewey, was Lynn Peltzer from Gremlins. She was the Gremlins mom for Gremlins. And you said, like, Stand By Me and some other, obviously, very popular
been in a few
films.
things.
But, and then uncredited, you have the Fonz.
Yeah. You got Henry Winkler in there playing the school principal. And said he did the uncredited just because he didn't want to take away from all the younger actors in there. He didn't want to have his name because he said if he got credit in there, they were going to put him above all the other people because he's been doing that for, 20 years at that point. So he requested no credit just so he wouldn't take away, any limelight from the younger people, which is cool of him. Because he was within his rights to go, yeah, put my name up there at the very top.
There's some, off the top of my head, I'm not going to be able to name, like, distinctively, like, okay, this person. But there's some screenwriters that has such a strong voice that they completely change, like, how the dialogue of people in films.
By the way, you called her Lynn Peltzer. That's her name in Gremlins, by the way.
Lynn Peltzer. Yes,
That is her name in Gremlins.
I'm terrible when it comes to. I always go by the name of the character that I remember the most.
Her name is Frances Lee McCain.
Sorry, Frances Lee.
Yeah, sure. When you said that, I was like, wait, that's the Peltzer ashtray and all that.
That's the Peltzer, yes.
So yeah, no, Frances Lee McCain.
Frances Lee McCain. I so sorry. In my mind, literally, when I'm watching the movie, I'm like, oh, it's
Gremlin's mom.
It's Gremlin's mom. It's Lynn. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. I apologize. Kevin Williamson. So the script, it was so meta. The narrative is just so narrow. He deconstructed like a whole genre. He made fun of the freaking genre tropes, like even to the point where the characters are aware of said tropes.
Well, yeah, you have Randy pointing out, it's like they should just watch Prom Night and save themselves some trouble. The dad's obviously a red herring. It's not going to be him. And this was the first movie that I ever remember them just calling out stuff like that.
Yeah.
None of the other movies. Now, you had little, in the Evil Dead and in the Wes Craven movies, they kept going back and forth with their little poster thing where they would tear up each other's posters.
Yes.
But that was about as far as it went. And this one just in dialogue called everything out and was just like, oh, this is just like Prom Night. This is like this. Here are the rules. You got to follow these rules. And he's, laying them all out for you. And it's all things that, as horror fans, we all knew all this, but it just never got called out in movies.
Exactly.
So when you were watching a lot of these movies, you'd be like, oh, God, yeah, she just said, I'm going to be right back. She's dead.
Yeah.
And, they point that out in this. Like, don't say you'll be right back, because you won't. You're going to be dead. And it was so much fun to just see that stuff called out on screen.
So to cover the rules, the rules were never have sex.
Yep.
Never drink or do drugs.
Yep.
Never say I'll be right back.
Those are the three main rules right there.
Because you ain't going to be back.
You're not.
Drew Barrymore, it was Drew Barrymore's idea to do the whole kill me first, which she got that. It's a very Hitchcockian, like Psycho.
Yeah, Janet Leigh.
Which, technique of taking out who you would think is going to be the main character, which shocks the whole fucking... I mean, I know I was shooketh. I was like, oh my God, not Drew Barrymore. But the film overall definitely brought life back into the horror genre. Like you said, it was stale. And similar to how Halloween 78 did for the genre, they changed the look of the horror films. It floodgated. Like, it opened the floodgates to a new like generation of horror, so many different horror after Halloween, and Scream did the same thing. There was lots of copycats. A slew of films came out afterwards.
A lot of them trying to use the same kind of formula of like, let's get a bunch of people from TV shows and we'll put them into our thing and see if we can, copycat the same formula. And some of them were okay to lesser degrees. Like Urban Legend came out the very next year. It was fine. It was probably in production before that because I don't think they could have got that whole thing done before.
No. And
but,
it's clever. Like,
yeah,
we all, you grew up with hearing urban legends.
Yeah.
You know, so did I. I think now would be the generation of now, or the younger generation would be like the creepypastas.
Yeah.
That would be like their urban legend, which
they're making into movies, so
they're making those into movies. But for me, that's not an urban legend. Like, some of them are, I guess, but they're just creating their own lore, you know. So they're taking it like a step further. But in the film itself, you see multiple films, and you do see Jamie Lee Curtis. You see a lot of when they're at the video store. You see that poster; she's on it
for Mother's Boys.
Yes, you see which
I was working at a video store in the 90s at this point. So that's where I got my Scream hat and Miramax bag and all this kind of stuff. They had a whole, like, you would send off for this kind of stuff. And also, back in those days of the video stores, like, for every so many copies you would order of certain movies, they would send you so many of these promo items. So, like, you order 50 copies of Scream. For the 50 copies you ordered, they sent you like one of these Miramax Studios bags and this kind of stuff. So I have a lot of that stuff left over from those days when they used to do that. And they also sent us, it was probably February or early March, they sent us a screener. It was like a promo copy of it. It was a VHS of Scream. And it was one of those ones where the movie played start to finish, but about every 5-10 minutes, it would run a thing on the bottom saying for promotional use only. If you have rented or bought this movie, please call this number. And that's the one that I had. I had that forever because I showed that to everybody because I was like, hey, you haven't seen it in the theaters yet? Come over, let's watch it. And we were watching that thing every weekend. And no one cared about it running the little thing across the bottom of the screen. Because this was back in the VHS days before we really started getting a lot of the, like, widescreen movies or any of that kind of stuff. So everybody was just thrilled to get to see it and to get to see it before it came out on VHS because, like I said, I had that thing in late February, early March, but it was for months before it actually hit the VHS market because I didn't think it came out on VHS until June, like right after, because then it was usually around 6 months before anything hit onto home video.
Yeah.
A year if you were a big movie like Jurassic Park.
Well, for the party, they rented some films. They're playing, obviously, Halloween.
Yeah.
Evil Dead is another film that they have, and Hellraiser are some of the films that they have at the party. And which, I mean, being a teenager and going to parties, like, there were people that you would go to the video store and you would get the horror movies, you know, or you would get whatever the movies, and then you would just run them in the background while people are just hanging out and whatnot. Some watching the movie, some just hanging out at the party. But I swear to you, no one's going to be able to change my mind on this. At the beginning, when Drew's walking around with those cassette tapes, and you were like, no, the inserts or whatever. I'm like, no, what she, on the top one, it looks like a black covered case. And the letters, it's one word, and it looks very long. And I'm like, that's Halloween. I don't care. No one is going to be able to change my mind on that. I mean, obviously, they have it later on, but I'm like, I'm dying to know what movies, because you really can't make out what they are.
Probably was Halloween, because Halloween was being put out by Miramax at this time. That's why they got all the rights to it. They were able to run the movies, and I think Hellraiser was Miramax as well, so that's probably why they were running all those like that, because those are the ones they can do without having to get permission from anyone or having to pay the rights for it, because since it's the same company, they can just lump them all in there.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about, what's his face? Nev Campbell's boyfriend.
Skeet Ulrich?
Skeet Ulrich, yes, but I always forget his stupid ass name in the movie.
Billy.
How can I forget Billy? Billy was obviously mad psycho. Like, okay, at the right of the beginning, they discussed a relationship. It's that whole scene where, you know, he's trying to get his hands under her shirt and trying to get something going, and she's like, no, her dad's in the house, and she's like, no. And she's, you know, it stated that they've been dating for 2 years. Then you find out later on that it's a 1-year anniversary of her mom's death, which is when all the shit goes down later on. And then towards the end, when they're going through the whole thing, you know, they tell her, you know, that he tells her that, oh yeah, I killed your mom and all of this bullshit. And I'm like, this kid took 2 years of his life. Like, he found out that, you know, whatever was going on with the mom, Maureen Prescott, and his dad were having an affair. And the mom, like, his mom found out and left and abandoned him. And he real mad about that. So he starts dating Sydney and starts compiling this whole fucking plan on how he's just going to go on a killing spree.
Yeah, he had that plan for a while.
That's that's some fucking dedication, though. But it's like major psycho behavior. Like...
And then Stu, like, his motive, he just says, like, what's your motive for all this? Peer pressure.
Yes.
Yeah, I always love that. It's like, oh, okay. He just got pushed into it.
I can't even... It's just baffling to me, like, how he would just go about all of that. And just oh yeah, I'm just gonna do... And then blame it on the movies. Like, they're just gonna blame it on the movies. That's never been done before. Like, it's just like, okay, that's a stretch. Like, if that's even gonna, like, work out for you. But the dedication to get all that pulled and then to, like, kill the mom, and then, like, it's not enough for him. It's like, it wasn't even her, it's not her fault what happened. Like, we wouldn't even have a movie if the mom would have just kept her legs closed. Like, she was so promiscuous. Like, I'm just saying, like, it's Maureen Prescott's fault that all this happened. Because if she wasn't doing what she was doing, then there would be no reason for him to, like, lose it and concoct this whole plan to, like, kill, you know, Sydney. Like, it just wouldn't happen. Obviously, then we wouldn't have a movie. But it's a lot. It's a lot. Now, we leave the Scream 1. Overall, eventually, like, big success. And then you start seeing, like we said, all these other horror movies come out. And then we get...
Even that very next summer, you had I Know What You Did Last Summer, which again... I
was watching Scream.
Which was, yeah.
Well, because it came out in December, but just kidding.
But, you know, obviously that had been in production for a while, too. Come out, and, you know, and they're flashing, you know, like, from the writer of Scream and everything on it. And that one was a huge hit. And again, it did the same thing that Scream was doing. It took someone from a party of 5 and put her in the lead role in a horror movie along with someone. I think Buffy was just starting around the time that I Know What You Did Last Summer came out, because Buffy started in, like, 97, I think. 96, 97. So I don't know how well known Sarah Michelle Gellar was for Buffy at that point. But, you know, Freddie Prinze Jr. was known for being in his movies that he had been in and that. So you took, like, the same thing. You had, like, the popular TV and teen movie stars and shoved them into that. And there you go.
I knew Sarah Michelle Gellar because I was watching Swan's Crossing in the early 90s. So when I saw her dumbass face again, I'm just kidding, I love her. I was like, oh my god, that's the girl from Swan's Crossing. Mind you, before that, she was on whatever, one of those...
That soap opera where, what's her name, Susan Lucci hated her.
Yes. And yeah, because she did a great job, and I think she won an award, and Susan Lucci had...
Yeah, she won the Daytime Emmy for that, which Susan Lucci had not.
Yeah, so it's like, get over yourself. But, so that's where I knew her from. And then, yes, Buffy. And then you had Freddie Prinze Jr., and then you had...
yeah, Buffy came out March 10th, 1997. This came out in the summer, so it had been out for a few months, so it wasn't... And again, it was known, but it wasn't as big as it would eventually become.
Kevin Williamson is back as a screenwriter. He actually did the first one, the second one, and then the fourth one. He's co-writing number 7 because he's directing that.
He's directing that one as well.
So he hasn't been, you know, directly, which explains a lot because 3 is whatever. 4, coincidentally, the one I love 1 and 4, and I really don't care about. I definitely don't like part 3. I don't care about any of the other ones. They're not as impactful, obviously, as the first one because it's a formulaic, so you already know what you're going to get into, and you're already going to know that there's going to be, like, all these things, you know, it's going to be meta-narrative. But they are broken up into, like, the different, like, oh, this is going to be about social media, this is going to be about, you know, that kind of stuff. Every one of the films has, the social, whatchamacallit, commentary. That, you know.
Well, and I think that part of the reason that the second one did so well is because they had it out less than a year later. Scream 2 came out December 12th, 1997. So, you know, a week shy of a year, they had the sequel out, which, if you're going to do it, that's the way to do it because, you know, people, like I said, the first one had just left theaters a few months ago. It was out on video. It was everywhere for people to rent, you know. And by the time that the sequel was coming out, I think the first Scream had finally come down to a price where you were able to buy it, you know. Because, you know, a lot of those rental ones came out, they were like $80 to $100. So I think it'd been about 6 months after that. So you're starting to be able to buy the first one for a normal price. So now you can just buy the first one and go see the second one in the theaters. And, you know, talking about urban legend again, Joshua Jackson, who would be an urban legend, is in the opening scenes of this one. Yes. Where they're in the film class and they're all discussing how sequels suck. And they just bring up sequels by definition are inferior to the original. And that was novel at the time because they just straight out said, yeah, this one's not going to be as good as the original, but it might be okay. And that one, again, had a ton of people showing up in it that would go on to other things. You know, like I said, Joshua Jackson, Timothy Olyphant, Jerry McConnell popped up in it, which you hadn't seen him in anything since Sliders. Yep. Which I think Sliders was still on. Was he still on it at this point? I can't remember.
I don't remember. I do remember that I definitely watched that show.
Yeah, he would left the show eventually, I think, but I can't remember if he'd already left it at the point that this movie came out.
Now, do you have a favorite Scream?
The original is probably my favorite, and then I think the fourth one did a great job of coming back because it was coming back and coming into a time when, you know, and since the last Scream, the thing that had taken over was all the torture movies. All the Saw and the Hostel and all that kind of stuff had been out. And the really, really intense horror movies, like, you know, you had in that time, you had like all the Rob Zombie stuff, The House of a Thousand Corpses, The Devil's Rejects, and all this stuff that wasn't fun to watch, you know?
Yeah.
Like the Scream, yeah, they're killing people and all that, but it's a fun watch. It's not something you have to struggle to get through. Hostel and all these, you know, they're constantly just ripping people's bodies apart. People are screaming all the time, and it is, they even call out in Scream 4, like, yeah, those movies are gory, but I don't care about the characters because there's no development. They're just people being thrown into a meat grinder. And, you know, so it was commenting on all that. And it was really ahead of its time in the fact that the whole reason the people are doing it in Scream 4 is just so they can be famous and not have to work anymore.
Which is exactly what someone of that time and today would do.
Yeah.
Like, that's... that one is my favorite one, even though I don't care about Emma Roberts. Like, I'm just like, ugh, Emma Roberts. I wish it was someone else. But I'm like, fine. I really, really enjoyed what he had to say about where we were at, because remember that first Scream, none of that existed. Like, there was no Snapchat, there was no Instagram, there was none of that. That wasn't a thing.
Even caller ID was known, but it wasn't as big as it would be later on. So, yes, you know, and cell
definitely
phones
after this movie.
Yeah.
After the first movie.
And cell phones, like now it's laughable when he says, what's he doing with a cell phone? Why would a kid have a cell phone?
Yes.
And you're like, yeah, why would a kid have a cell phone? Which it was a novel thing for a 16, 17-year-old to have a cell phone back in 1996.
It's like, who is he? Fucking Doogie Howser? Like, why does he have a cell phone?
Yeah, why does he need that? He's not a doctor. Yeah, so...
The second one set the rules for the sequels.
Yeah, they talked about the sequels to that. And the second one shocked me and pissed me off by killing Randy.
I was not happy about
I
that.
didn't care for that. I really thought he should have made it to the end. I'd rather seen Gail get killed off, to be honest.
I don't care about Gail. I would have been okay with that. I needed to have more Randy in my life. But then they got to learn eventually what's going on in the films on their own. Like, they can't always have Randy to have all the answers, because Randy in that scene, like, I didn't know that script had leaked, and that they had to change who the killers were, and that her roommate was one of the killers.
Yeah.
I had no idea. But then looking back, and what you said, that you noticed, like, the different sizing of the ghost face. You can, if you pause it, or if you're paying real attention, you can see, like, oh, it's short, it's thinner. You know what I mean? Because Timothy Olyphant, I mean, he's huge. Like, he's a big guy compared to the roommate. Even down, so when he breaks down with Dewey, like, when he's breaking down the whole thing about sequels, and he's, like, saying, oh, it's probably the Quentin Tarantino obsessed, guy Mickey. He's probably the killer, but we can't keep him as someone that we can consider, because then I would also be considered.
Yeah,
so we're going to move on.
We're going to move on. It's like, oh, yeah, I might have looked at him a little harder.
Yeah, maybe it's the roommate. And he goes through all of that, obviously, because they're like, okay,
the script leaked, so we're going to change it now, and we're going to throw this out, and then you're not going to realize that, oh, okay, we changed it a little bit.
And you see, I could accept another revenge film, because the first one is revenge. Like, yes, they did want to blame it on the movies, but the revenge was at the heart of the killing. Stu just did it because he's a fucking teenager. He wanted to do something fun. He thought it was fun to do it with his friend, like, whatever. But he wasn't the brains behind the fucking operation. Then in part 3, they deal with the Hollywood horror, trilogy, like, tropes. And
they also...
That's why I'm like, I could accept that it's Billy's mom, because she did abandon him. And she, either comes back or has to get that phone call from the dad, like, oh, our son's dead. He killed all these people, and he's a freaking serial killer. And obviously she was off her rocker, so that's where he got her fucking insanity from. So it's like, okay, I could see her come back, hire someone else to, like, help, that would be close to them. And going to the school.
And it was novel that they met in a chat room.
Yes.
In 1997.
Which is yes, exactly.
In 1997, it was a new thing to meet someone in a chat room. So it was like, oh, killers are making this. They're using chat rooms too. That was a novel approach in 97.
And then whether whoever wrote Scream 3, whatever was going through their mind, like...
It was pretty obvious that that's all about Bob Weinstein.
Yeah, which that's a lot.
And how they got that made right under his nose. I guess it goes to show how unself-aware he was, that he didn't think, oh, this is about me.
Yeah, this is about me. Which there's no way that's not about him. Like, there's literally no way that it's not about him.
And that had to be like Wes Craven and all of them just doing that and being like, yeah, he didn't even notice it.
Yeah, which
crazy.
That's insane.
And the other thing I think is interesting about the Scream movies was, yeah, you had Kevin Williamson came back and wrote like 3 of the first 4, but for Craven to come back and direct all of them,
he did 1, 2, and 4. Kevin Williamson.
I know, that's what I just said.
Oh no, you said he said he wrote the first 4, but okay, I just want to make sure, because he didn't write part 3. But okay, so then for him, Wes Craven to come back and direct all 4, which, I mean, that at that point it was like, yeah, Wes Craven was all about it, because can't even imagine how much money that was getting in his pocket. He wasn't getting any, like.
Yeah, because he didn't even come back and direct the sequels to Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yikes. No. I mean, the scripts are terrible.
Until he came back for that new Nightmare, which, again, I don't care for. But, yeah.
Which came out before Scream, right? As it came out in 95. I actually saw that I unfortunately did see that in the theater. That was the movie that I was thinking about, like, oh, yeah, there was no good movies at that time. Not good at all. But for him to come back, and then the 4th one was his last one, because then after that...
Yeah, he passed away in 2015. And obviously he didn't do anything in between. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting that, he came back and did all 4 of these, and because I don't think there's been another, except for the Chucky movies, which mostly was that Don Mancini writing them. He's written all the Chucky movies and sequels. But for the director to come back, I think that's the first time one's come back that many times, because all the Friday the 13th are kind of directed by different people, written by different people. You had different Jason stunt people every time, for the most part. So, yeah, it was really interesting that he came back for all those, you know.
It is. And then you have number 5, which was a requel. So that was the whole thing. It was the reboot sequel. And then, you know, then number 6, there's no point to number 6. My issue with the whole, with after 2, okay, there's no point to have Sydney anymore. For me, they should have moved away from the Sydney thing. I know they had the TV show, which personally I enjoyed very much because the kills were crazy in that show. They were real crazy, and I liked the show. I watched the entire thing. Like, I really enjoyed the show. It was a pretty good spin-off to a horror film.
Yeah, because it did its own thing. Like, it went on with what was going on at the time. Like, there was so much video in it, people taking videos of different people being killed, and that. It was really good. I enjoyed the first. They did 2 seasons, and then like kind of a movie that finished most of the storylines off. It kind of left a little bit hanging as to what was going on, because I think they were trying to come back for another one, but it didn't work. And I think if it had been on something other than MTV, it might have gone a little further. But MTV at that point was kind of dumping all of its... That was during their phase where they were trying to do a few dramatic shows, but then they just dropped it all and just went to nothing but straight, reality shows. Let's do another version of the freaking Great
My
Race
Sweet 16,
or whatever.
part 25.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
I'm now 32 years old.
Yeah. But yeah, I did enjoy that series a lot. They had a little bit different mask for it and everything, but it was still fun. I enjoyed that show a lot.
Yeah, the mask was fine. I mean, the mask was fine, yes, compared to other TV shows that had terrible masks, which kind of did star Emma Roberts. Yeah, the whole thing is how long, like, it's the whole Laurie Strode thing, like, the back and forth, she's related, she's not related, so it's like, why is he even bother? Why is he, what is his obsession? Like, it's just coincidence that he happens to be, in the same area as Laurie Strode now, like, he just happened to walk down the street and she was there, and he was like, she's the person there, I'm gonna kill her. I have no feelings towards this woman whatsoever, she's just a random killing. Like, no, that whole thing is crazy. But to pull all these people from Sydney's past and like, oh, they're all mad at her because of this and all that, I think is a fucking stretch. Especially the whole, oh, the mom had a son when she was young because she got accosted by and assaulted by the director, and then she had a kid, and then the kid was mad because I'm like, you're a director, dude. Like, you acting like you live on food stamps, like you having a hard life, like you whatever. Apparently, wherever you ended up worked out for you.
Wasn't that bad, apparently.
And why are you blaming that on Sydney? That's not Sydney's fault, and none of this is Sydney's fault. Why does the child have to bear the sins of the parent? Like, why are they the ones that have to pay for it? It's not like Freddy, like, okay, yeah, he did some terrible things, so he has to bear, like, he has to be dealt with, but he shouldn't be going after the kids either. I mean, I guess that was his thing, he was into kids, so that's why he goes after the kids. But it's like he's blaming them for what the parents did to him, but it's like, but you weren't a good guy though, you weren't innocent, you just mad. Then you gotta fast forward to that terrible movie where it's like you see the evil spirits are like telling him, oh, this is gonna happen, and they like possess him.
Yeah,
that's what gets him.
That was part 6, wasn't it?
Oh, it's so bad. It's just so bad. So I'm sure Wes Craven was happy, like, oh, okay, finally, he did TV movies, he did a lot of stuff that did not, pan out well or work well for him.
He had his things like, he came up with, he did The Last House on the Left and The Hills Have Eyes, which are kind of on the vein of like the torture porn stuff.
Yes, I don't care
in
for
the
either
70s.
one of those movies.
And then he kind of vanished for a little while and then came back with Nightmare on Elm Street, which again...
His best movie.
Jump-started a whole genre back then, You started having the Quippy Killer and all that kind of stuff. That's where you got Chucky and all this stuff. And then, he's gone for a while, comes back and does Scream, starts the whole meta thing all over again. And, he kind of had 3 different times in his life when he came back and put in a different movie that, like, reinvigorated the genre. And most directors don't get that. They get one thing that comes along and then that's it. He had 3 different kinds of movies that kind of came in and started their own tons of copycats.
For sure.
So yeah, it was interesting to see, and we've got another Scream coming out at the end of the month.
We sure do.
Number 7.
Well, and hopefully they always say this is gonna be the last one. This is gonna be the last one. We already know from the Jamie Lee Curtis of it all, it's never gonna be the last one. When these people are like, I'm not doing anymore. When that truck is backing up in that driveway with that cash,
yeah,
and they can smell it. They're like, okay, I'm gonna do it.
I'm
Which
surprised
I don't blame them. I mean, come on, someone's coming with a truck full of cash. Come on.
But I'm surprised they haven't done just an actual remake of Scream yet.
Oh God, no! I don't want to watch that. That'd be terrible.
But it's coming eventually.
It should never come, and I think that's the whole thing of all these movies. Like for me, that would just no, that doesn't make any sense to do that. And no, how dare you put that out in the world? How dare you?
It's coming eventually.
No,
I'm surprised it hasn't happened already. To be quite honest,
no. Because it's not going to work. I don't care what anyone says. The 6 and 7, which were directed by Radio Silence, those fucking movies are terrible. Okay? They're the worst ones, I feel, out of all those. They don't make sense. I don't care. It's pulling shit out of air. Like, the whole, like... Oh yeah, Billy had a kid and she's hallucinating and seeing her dad, or she has like psycho problems because her dad is crazy and she's seeing him everywhere, and we're gonna AI the dad or whatever the fuck they did to him. No and no and no and no. And now we're in New York and it's the cop, and then one of the cops is like, I'm just like, just stop. Just stop. This is terrible. I don't want to see this. This is the worst. This is literally what they made fun of in Scream 4 with all the different openings of Scream. That's what I take those 2 movies to be. It's like a joke.
Yeah, I love the openings of Scream 4. We didn't talk about that, where it comes on and you've got all the people that have been in, different horror movies and TV shows at that point. You had Anna Paquin showing up, and they're doing their whole like, oh, this is the opening to the movie. Oh, no, you're just watching the opening to one of the Stab movies. And then you think you've seen it all? No, it's another opening to a Stab movie. So yeah, I did enjoy that in part 4 as well.
Yeah, you have Lucy Hale, you have Kristen Bell. So you're like, oh, I know that person. Oh, I know that person. And it's such a good opening. Really good.
I love when they make fun of it. They're like, wait, so the opening to Stab 6 is Scream? So the opening to Stab 7 is Scream or Stab 6? Like what?
Yeah.
They're all confused about it. Like, no, that was the one with time travel. They kind of sucked.
So yeah. So for me, 6 and 7 are Stab movies. So I don't even... So it's 1, 2, 4 for me. I don't know if they're gonna be able to pull it off in 7 with him directing and co-writing. The fact that he's co-writing, that gives me a little bit of hope, because who's gonna be able to do the franchise justice than the creator of the franchise? I mean, he wrote the script, like they say, he wrote the book, he wrote everything. So to have him back in that position gives me hope for what I can see. However, the first time when in Scream 6, when they came back, me and my sister were like, it has to be Stu. Stu has to come back. This is the only thing that makes sense. We could not pull out of our ass, okay, that it was gonna be Billy's long lost fucking kid, you know, that he had before he was with
You mean Scream
Sydney.
5?
Scream 5, yeah, before all of that. Like, no, I didn't, that wasn't gonna be anything that was gonna happen. Everything 5, and 6, I'm like, Stu has to come back, especially 5. I was like, okay, it's Stu. Like, did he survive having the TV? Like, can you survive that? Can you survive having a TV thrown in your face? Because someone was like, well, you never really see him being wheeled out at the end of the movie. Like, but I'm like, well, you never really you see somebody be wheeled out. We're going to assume that it's going to be Billy because he was right there in front of the door. So that's the first body you're going to get. I mean, really, and if they're really looking, the first body technically would be the cameraman because he outside.
Yeah. So's what's her name, Tatum.
So, oh yeah, she in the door.
She hanging in the door.
Oh, Tatum. So, Sydney named her daughter Tatum. Spoiler alert. It's not a spoiler alert, actually. It's an IMDb, so don't be mad at me. So then Scream 7, she has a daughter. She has a daughter who's the same age as Sydney was when this all started, which I'm like, do the math, guys. The math is not mathing for me, but okay, I guess ish. She could be. I mean, I guess it's plausible. We'll give it that. It could be plausible.
You'd have to change the things around. Like the first one came out in '96, so if you made it say, okay, it happened in '95, and then the sequel did happen in '97, the other one happens in 2000. So she would have had to have that kid right after the other one, which would have been around 2010 in movie time. Been around 2010, so she could have a 16-year-old kid now.
Yes, if she had a kid right after, it's like, ooh, I survived. Yet not the second time, not the third time, but a fourth time. Okay, of someone trying to kill me. Maybe this is the best time where I should be having a baby. Like,
well, they're all dead at this point, so let's finally have this kid, you know?
I'm going to have this kid. We're finally going to have, you know, what doesn't make any sense, and yes, fine, whatever. But when we see her with that stroller, and we're like, okay, those are her kids, like, in there. And she mentions her significant other and her children, you know, you're thinking, but they just decanonized that. That didn't happen. They pulled a fucking Star Wars. Not a Star Wars. They pulled a Disney. They're like, nah, erase all of that. She doesn't have any other kids but this one kid. She's only had this one kid this whole time. Yeah. Because I may be wrong, I didn't see any other kids in this trailer. I only seen Tatum, her daughter. Nobody else. It does sound like Matthew Lillard's voice on the phone. I could only accept this film if it's Stu. That's it. I'm gonna throw that out there. Also, my sister, from the first trailer, the first teaser, whatever the hell they showed, she's like, the killer's gonna be the daughter. It's the daughter and like her friends, like some other people, but it's the daughter is the one, the mastermind behind this. For whatever reason, she mad at her mom because they had to move all the time. Maybe her mom was fucking like Jamie Lee Curtis and she was crazy with like the fucking underground layer bullshit and all this crazy stuff. Who knows? But she mad and she has to be the killer. And I hate that idea, to be honest. I don't care for that whatsoever. I can't even imagine what they could be pulling like in this last movie. I have no idea.
Well, we'll see. At the end of the month, we'll go take a look gander and see what's going on.
We are. Hopefully it's the last Scream. Because how many more relatives does she have? I mean, hot damn, everyone that is in her life just wants to kill her. Like, it seems a bit extreme.
Eventually, you think they would do the Halloween and just kill Sydney off at the beginning of the movie and then just go from there.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different directions they could take this. From part 4, if they had decided we're going to leave her alone and we're not going to get her involved, or she moved to Britain, like, get her out of the country. Like, he ain't getting on a plane, okay? The TSA ain't letting him get on with the fucking mask and a knife, like,
and the voice changer,
and the voice changer. Like, he's not going to be able to pull that. He, she, it, they, them, none of them. Okay, they're not going to be able to pull it. It's not happening. So we're going to remove her from the thing. If they would have made that movie without her and the killer, everything else would have remained the same. So they're all the teenagers, they're having a party, they're doing it to be famous. It's social media, boom, perfect. That would have been the perfect starting point for a whole, new direction of Ghostface. I feel like that was the opportunity. Now I think that's too late. I think it's too late. I don't want to see any more Halloween movies. I'm going to be honest. I love Halloween. I don't want to see anymore. I am done, okay? Evil died a long time ago.
Evil
Did it
died
die tonight? It didn't die tonight. It died. I'm going to say for me, I like H2O. It's not my favorite. Evil died in, part 5. Like, I'm not about anything else after that. And it's the same thing for the Scream. I'm good. I don't need any more. Give me something new to watch. I can't, or bring back something that's so freaking obscure. Like,
we never had any sequels to My Bloody Valentine.
Yeah,
we had a remake of it, but we never had a sequel to either one, and both of them ended with the killer getting away and running off into the night. We could have had a sequel to that, but we never did. Let's see that.
I mean, I would rather watch that than watch another, like, Scream 8. Like, I'm not about Scream 8.
Yeah, on Halloween, I think they've done all they can do on that.
Yeah,
it's time to just let Michael Myers rest for a while.
Because he's a pointless killer. He's just, yes, someone could be like, okay, well, that he's just a killer then. He doesn't have to have a point. He just likes to go around and kill. The man is 60, and now he's, 65 years old. He old, okay? Isn't he tired? Doesn't he have arthritis? Don't he want to retire? Don't even killers want to just take a break? I mean, mind you, to be fair, he only kills for like a weekend.
Yeah, it's just on Halloween. He only does it once a year. He doesn't like he has to be out there killing himself, 365. He's just one day a year. It's like the joke they made. Maybe they shouldn't transport Michael around Halloween because he always gets out around the bus. It's always like they're moving him sometime around Halloween and he gets out. Maybe stop doing that. Maybe move him on Christmas or Easter. Let's not move him anywhere near Halloween.
I think Easter's a good one. Not Christmas, Easter. They should definitely move him around there.
Yeah.
Or damn it, we haven't seen Jason in a long time since Jason versus Freddy, like in the theater.
It was the 2009.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Friday the 13th, the remake they did in 2009 is the last one. Now that's supposedly happening this year with some kind of a TV show that's supposed to be coming out this year.
Oh yes, isn't that on Peacock? Yes, the TV show. Yes, I do want to watch that, and I'm like, okay, I'm along for the ride. Like, you got me. I do, but I want to see Jason, which we already said.
Yeah,
Jason. It's Camp Crystal Lake, but it's wintertime.
He's got to come out on the ice with the hockey mask on, and someone says, "Oh, the goalie's finally here." And then he just kills the shit out of everybody on the ice.
He takes the puck and he fucking swings, and the puck just fucking decapitates the fucking head, and it rolls on the fucking ice. And there you go. Boom. And there's like a little frost in the face. It's perfect. Like, this is what someone please make this.
We're just dying to see the winter version of it.
I'm not going to go to AI because I'm not about that. But I just really want to see this made into a movie. That's just everything. I'm not even a Jason fan. I don't really care. It's been a long time since we've seen him, and yes, and I do, LOL, I do call that movie Killer Cut, because I thought for the longest time that was the name of the movie. Friday the 13th Killer Cut. Which is the director's cut of the film.
Yes.
That movie was pretty good, but it's been a long time.
Yeah, it's time to if you're going to bring one back, let's bring him back. We haven't seen him now for 16 years, 17 years?
That's true. Well, I hope you enjoyed our 300th episode. We try to make it a little longer because I know our episodes are not as long as this one. This is a special one. And of course, you know, you love our rants, you love our craziness. Drop us a comment, a like, something.
Yep, and if you really like us, click on our thing to buy us a coffee and buy us a coffee. We could use a new computer. We got to start saving up money.
Well, thank you so much for joining us in another episode. Stay tuned to the horror.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.